Okay, we're back for part 2 of our Lucy Libido video series. And so we're going to be talking first now about emotional and mental preparation for times of intimacy with your significant other. What that looks like, what that means. Sometimes, obviously research shows that just thinking about times of intimacy, increased times of intimacy. And so a lot of times sex starts here for a lot of us, especially as women. Definitely as women, for a man who is most men, not all, but a lot of men are visually stimulated just by what you're wearing in terms of lingerie or underwear or things like that, where women are not always stimulated that way. And so we have to have a mental preparation process that we go through. And this can look very different, and it starts way before the bedroom many times for us. And so that mental preparation might come from something as simple as taking care of yourself, making yourself feel beautiful. So maybe that's something as simple as shaving your legs. Maybe that's something as simple as getting a facial or a pedicure or a manicure or a new pair of underwear, or something that maybe you start using a de-stress. I'm going to be reading from some of my notes, so if you see me looking down, that's what I'm doing. Maybe you needed some de-stress time. For my time, my times with my husband in terms of intimacy, not even always physical intimacy. There are times where I need to de-stress. And so we have a massage table, and we're amateurs, but we've, over the course of 20 years, learned to give each other back rubs and massages at home. And so that's something that really helps me de-stress before just that physical touch or the feelings of just being able to relax from a very stressful week with now 3 kids, 2 up until this point, but after next month, it's going to be 3. So again, that is something that needs to start way before the bedroom and have intentional preparation. So there are some things when we do intentionally prepare for times of intimacy, then we are more likely to find the time to do it. So if we're thinking about it, if we're focusing on it, if we are, starting to think through what it might look like, and I'm not going into anything graphic here, but just really preparing in your mind and letting your mind go there for what it looks like for you and your significant other. What does that time of intimacy look like for you two? Thinking about that and spending a lot of time during the day, maybe even hiring a babysitter, locking the door, okay? Again, like we said, the other thing would be treat yourself to something once in a while. I don't know that you always have to have that for times of intimacy, but she did list it in the book. And so, again, maybe makeup, maybe something, as simple as your new mineral makeup, even though, you're going to be probably rubbing a lot of that off at some point, and for some men, that's a turnoff. So it depends on your guy too. It depends on what your significant other is into as far as makeup. Like my husband despises lipstick. He wants me to not wear it. The last thing that would put him in the mood is for me to come into the bedroom with a bunch of makeup on my face and lipstick. But for some men, they do like that. And so I think it just depends on you really knowing your significant other and knowing what they prefer. And I think that does kind of come with time. So that is an important thing that does come with time. So the first thing we're going to do before oils for him and then oils for her is we're going to be talking about hormone balancing oils. So sometimes, and I may have to read from my notes, some of this is really technical that she gets into. Again, some of this I'm paraphrasing from her book, so please know that. And I'd love to see you get your own copy of the book. But the first thing she talks about is Progestins Plus for hormone balance. And she also discusses how this is not a quick fix for hormone imbalances. We all know that Progestins Plus is a serum. It is not an essential oil. It's a serum that you would start using that can take up to 2 to 3 months to really start noticing the great effects that it gives. And so this is, there's a PDF that I can get you the link to. You can also Google Progestins Plus Dan Purser PDF. And I think it's Persur, I think is how you spell it. If not, it's pretty close to that. And so he has a whole 15-page PDF with FAQs about this oil, because if you are on birth control and using it for birth control, this is not going to work for you. So again, want to make sure that you read thoroughly through that whole 15-page thing before you would even start thinking about this. And again, this is not an oil. It's a serum that's made mostly with wild yam extract that helps to support the hormonal system. So Again, it's not a quick fix, but it's not synthetic either. And so you would start with like 1 drop on a daily basis. You would not want to do a ton of drops of this. This is not more is better. This is where you start with 1 drop and see how it affects your body. The next one that they talk about is one of my favorites to give women who hormonal support who are in their 50s or women who have a lot of monthly issues, and it's called Dragon Time. So Dragon Time is one of my favorite. It's blue. It's a beautiful oil when it comes out. This is another one that's a favorite of mine for hormone balancing. And so this is not something you're using directly in the moment. This is something that the week before your menstrual cycle, you would want to start using, maybe even a day or 2 after or during your menstrual cycle. And it helps with a lot of things for women that are like 50 plus, starting to go through the change of life. It really supports a lot of that. The next one that would be a hormone balancer would be Endoflex. And this is something that we use for women to support their thyroid a lot. So if you do think that your thyroid is out of whack, obviously, please see an endocrinologist. Please get that tested. If you have thyroid issues or any kind of endocrine issues, this is a really great oil to support your endocrine system. Okay, so that's another one of my favorites. And then there are 2 that I don't have to show you called Lady Sclareol and Sclarescence. Both of these, and this is from the book, I'm paraphrasing here, balance healthy estradiol levels with support, which support the ovaries and the uterus for reproductive purposes. When I was going through my IVF cycle and they were trying to get me to not ovulate but go into this time, I actually had estradiol shots. And one thing I can tell you is that my libido was much higher during those times. And it says these levels drop with age and especially during menopause. Women with higher estradiol levels struggle less with fertility. So obviously there was a reason that my fertility doctor was giving me estradiol. And these 2 are for topical use and can improve mood as well. Some swear that it works better when their man applies it. I don't know why, but just some swear that when their husbands or their men apply it, that it's even better. So these are the hormone balancing oils that we're going to discuss in part 2. Moving on, in the next section, we'll be talking about part 3 and part 4, where things might get a little steamy. So that's where you want to hang in for these first 2 videos. Now we're going to be on part 3.